All right, finally, it is Tuesday afternoon, 2 p.m., and I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, and we are about 7 hours late today because, well, I just got busy, and I went from a cold office to a warm office, and it's kind of boiling right now, but it's kind of good to be back talking Rams football, and I've got my Dickerson shirt on and a lot of stuff going on. I think I've been banned from one of the Rams websites because I asked the question about the Rooney Rule. I said, doesn't the Rooney Rule lend itself for someone exploiting maybe a little bit their multiracial background, thinking in terms of the Dolphins coach there that was hired, and someone got really mad at me. And so I was just asking the question, and I think I'm right. The Rooney Rule is easily abused, and I think most people might agree with me. It was a stone group. It is. It's true. Yeah, I am righteous on this one because there is a lot of messing around in terms of the Rooney Rule. But anyway, I digress, and I'm not even going to talk about that today because I'm really happy to be back on the air. Someone was asking me, okay, who was my money on? And in a figurative sense, my money's on the Rams, but in a literal sense, I don't bet. You guys know my day job is a minister, and that's not the reason I don't bet. I don't bet for two reasons. For one, I don't have the dough to bet. I've never had the dough to really lay money down. Also, the other aspect of it, and probably a larger one, is I'm unlike some sports people I know, and I could rattle off names here. These guys are really good, and they're locals in the SGV. They're really good is that they can separate their heart from their head, and I've never been able to do that. I'm a tea leafer, and what I mean by a tea leafer, it's kind of a phrase, is that I look for every little sign. As you've noticed, is that when I'm doing my cosmic caffeinated nerddom research for the Rams and finding out all these little things that link everything together, like the last time the Georgia quarterback started a Super Bowl was Fran Tarkenton in 76, and it was at the Rose Bowl, so it was in LA, linking that to Stafford. That's just what I do. But if I was a betting man, I would be looking for all those things to justify my selection of my team, and I'm just not good at it. So I'm a Rams fan. Sometimes I'll get mad in an argument with somebody, and say, put your money where your mouth is, and usually I come down to betting somebody for a pizza, but it's usually straight up. But I'm not a bettor. I don't give lines. In fact, all the years I've been writing sports, watching sports, I really don't know how to read a line. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. So my reason for not being involved in gambling, well, I think there is some spiritual stuff there. It's not a spiritual reason for me. It was long before I was ever associated with the church or even spiritually engaged. That's just not something that was ever in my realm. And I'm not poo-pooing anybody that does. I'm just saying from this perspective, I don't really give bets, predictions, and points and take this and take that in terms of what I'm doing with talking about Rams football. I do have a prediction. I believe the Rams are going to win, and I'll give you a score at the end of the week. Do I think there's some stuff they need to be careful with? Yeah, because I think across the board, the Rams have all the advantages. All the way across the board, I think they have advantages. But my thing is, you can't sleep on Joe Burrow. And I know it's early, and that sounds like I'm just joining into the media fawning session. And Burrow is the current pretty boy. Burrow is the flavor of the month. It's so funny how quick we move off Patrick Mahomes. And I heard someone say it that if Burrow wins this game, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. And it's like, Patrick, huh? Patrick who? It's so fickle, right? And so that's why we should never link ourselves to fame and fortune and having people give us adulation, because it is so fickle and so fleeting. And now Burrow is the flavor of the month. And my reason for that with Burrow is he scares me because the dude got sacked 9 times. I don't know how many times he got whacked and hit throughout the playoffs. He got sacked 9 times in Tennessee, and he kept getting up dealing dimes. And then he falls behind an Arrowhead, and he came back. Joe Burrow scares me as a Rams fan. And even though this narrative is building around him, there is something about it. Everyone wants another Joe at quarterback, and I agree, because I don't think there's any kind of better name for a quarterback than Joe. If you were building a team, you would want to find a quarterback named Joe. Don't call me crazy. I don't know why, but I really like the name Joe. Guys with Joe have a lot of charisma. Namath and Montana remain transcendent as guys that have won the Super Bowl named Joe. Joe Theismann won a Super Bowl. He was a tad bit more blue collar with the Redskins in '82. Joe Flacco was all blue collar when he won his with the Ravens about a decade ago. Joe Biden, well, it's not Joe Biden, it's Joe Burrow. He's as cool as Saks Fifth Avenue. He fits the suit that Namath and Montana are in. And I think the media just loves him, and they would just love to see him pull off this win, and it would be an upset. And they might not like the fact he's in Cincinnati because Cincinnati's not a glamour town. And Cincinnati always seems to find a way to screw things up. But I think the media really wants Joe Burrow really bad to win, and he's capable of it. And so he kind of scares me. So keep an eye on Joe Burrow in that regard, is that he can get whacked by Donald, whacked by Floyd, whacked by Miller, picked off by Jalen, but the dude's going to keep coming. And he's just that kind of a character. And so yeah, he scares me in this game. I think the Rams should win, but they can't go to sleep on Joe Burrow. And I know this will upset some folks, is that I'm not too excited about seeing Taylor Rapp being back in the lineup. I looked at the recent lineup for so far for this week, and he on the depth chart, he's first. Yeah, at this point, I'd rather see Eric Weddle, unless he's already fatigued from 3 weeks of action. But if Eric Weddle could run, I'd much rather see Eric Weddle with Nick Scott. And we know football is not a really a sentimental sport. We can be sentimental about it. But yeah, I really don't care if Rapp's been the starter all year. I think Weddle is the best player between the two. And I think definitely Nick Scott has proven he belongs on the field. And I'm worried about Rapp in regards to when Joe Burrow goes downfield. We've seen mistakes. I'm also not too excited with Traven Howard losing snaps to Ernest Jones, who's back, seems to be back, is supposed to get more playing time. On the depth chart, he's listed as the starter. I like Ernest Jones, but I'd rather see him out there with Traven Howard. And like every week I say it, much to everyone's chagrin, I know Troy Reeder wears the green dot, but I'd much rather see Troy Reeder scaled back than Traven Howard. And so I think we need cover backers, especially against the Bengals and Joe Burrow, because he's not just going to be throwing to Chase the whole time. He's not just going to be looking for Jamar Chase. He's going to share the ball. I think the Rams look good on defense. I don't think there's going to be a problem, but it was an interesting thing. Where's the Rams hang up? Ultimately, Scott and Weddle have been playing great at safety. Darius Williams hasn't been perfect, but he's really stepped up. And of course, Jalen Ramsey. Even David Long has gone to another level in the postseason. So the Rams are kind of good across the board. And Reeder's made plays. Traven Howard's made plays. Guys have made plays. I think the defense is good enough. I think in most instances it will be in the right place at the right time. It's proven that. But the Rams tackling this year has been really suspect. And even sometimes with Darren Donald, them breaking through his wrap-ups and stuff. The Rams were ranked 12th overall by Pro Football Focus in terms of tackling. You get graded on your tackling. 6 of the 11 teams in front of them were the Eagles, Vikings, Giants, Texans, Seahawks, Jets, Colts. And come on, both New York teams were bad, right? 6 of those teams, didn't make the playoffs. Eagles did, I'm sorry, but Vikings, Giants, Texans, Seahawks, Jets, Colts, they didn't make the playoffs, and they were ranked ahead of the Rams as being better tacklers. They graded out better for tackling, and the Rams got the number 1 ranked defense, but their tackling, we all know, has been suspect. If they tackle, the cliche is, Stafford can't turn the ball over, and the Rams got to play their game, and we got all those cliches that you always hear. It really boils down to the most fundamental thing of all, that every play is not going to be under threat of interception or turnover, but every play does require a tackle to be made. And will the Rams tackle? And that's it. Joe Mixon isn't somebody to be trifled with. And again, that's the kind of thing that just makes you just a tad bit scary, because we've seen what someone like Deebo Samuel has done to the Rams when they attempt to wrap him up. Offensively, when the Rams are dealing with the ball, we're going to go deeper and deeper as the week goes on. The best aspect of Cincy's defense in the Rams is the secondary. Everything else from Cincy's tackling to their run defense to everything else. They are really subpar. They're ranking in the 20s. So I'd really like to see the Rams pound the ball. The Rams committed to the run against San Francisco, and San Francisco has the sixth overall defense against the run this year. They committed to the run against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they were 11th. So they need to commit to the run against the Bengals, who are in the high 20s. They can move the ball on the Bengals, make the secondary cheat, keep Burrow off the field, and win this game without having any hearts skip a beat. And we know that's kind of the Rams' nature, is they do like to cause hearts to skip a beat. But I think this game is theirs for the taking. I think if they're fundamentally sound, they're going to win this game. I don't think they can afford to be cute. I don't think they can afford to just come out and wing it all over the yard. I don't think they're going to come out there and think they've got this game won. I think there was some swag to the Super Bowl 36 Rams, even though people in Los Angeles don't want to talk about it. I think there was some swag to that greatest show on turf, is that we were going to flip a switch. And for an instant there, they did, and tied the game at 17 before the Vinatieri field goal and the coming out party for Tom Brady in Super Bowl 36. But even that game shouldn't have been as close. But of course, Belichick's Belichick, and we understand that. Zach Taylor knows something about Sean McVay. We've seen the Rams. Sometimes they don't come out and play their best ball, but we also know when they do, there's very few of hardly any teams that can play with them. And I think if the Rams come out and play their best ball, and I think you've got someone like Von Miller who wants another shot at a ring, and he's infecting. Aaron Donald's been there and lost. A couple of these Rams have been there and lost. Jalen Ramsey wants a ring. It's validation for who he is. We talked about Von Miller, OBJ. This is validation for OBJ. He wants a ring. All these guys want rings, and some of those free agent guys that are getting ready to move on, and they're going to have to move on because there's not going to be any money. They got to make money when they play ball because the window is so short. They might end up someplace else. Think of Morgan Fox. Morgan Fox was with the Rams from 2016 up through last season, and he really steadily improved. And finally, his time came where he had to go make some money, so he went to Carolina, and they missed the playoffs. So his window with the Rams is over. It was just 2018. Look at these guys. Joseph Sebastian Day is a free agent. He's back in the line. Well, he's back playing. I can't see them pulling Greg Gaines for Sebastian Day, but he's going to contribute. You got to believe he's active. He's going to contribute, but this is his shot. And he's a free agent, and who knows what next year looks like in terms of re-signing him. I hope they re-sign everybody, but I think the Rams will be hungry enough, and I think they will be focused, and I think they can survive a turnover here or a turnover there. But what they need to do is not come out and be cute. They need to come out and be physical and pound the ball. And then honestly, I think the best game plan is Stafford throwing 25 times, not because they don't trust him, but because the running game is just beating the snot out of that Bengal front. That's how I see that there. A couple other breaking things here as we hit the 13-minute mark of the show is Kyler Murray has scrubbed his media of anything with the Cardinals, and there's talk that he's doing it because he wants his contract, extended now. And I'll tell you about Kyler Murray. Everyone wanted to put a gold jacket on him in November, right? Everyone wanted to put a gold jacket on him and declare him, oh, he's just one of the greatest things. Coward loved him. Everybody loved him. But I tell you, I love Murray's talent, but I hate his tude. That guy just gives off bad vibes, bad mojo, bad body language for a dude that's never won a playoff game. I don't like the way he interacts sometimes with his veterans, the head shake, the this. It's like that really fries me when you're the leader of a team. The leader, you have to lead. You can't just join the pity party. And there's just something about his body language I don't like, and he breaks down a lot. And I'm all for every player getting his dough when he can, soon as they can. I want them to get their dough. I believe that because the NFL will just dump you. We know how professional sports works. But I don't know if this is the way to go about it for him. If this is a public statement that I'm demanding, and he's making it public and he's trying to trash the Cardinals, Arizona has built that team around him. They've done everything to accommodate his skill set. If he was supposed to be healthy in that playoff game against the Rams, I don't know what was going on because that dude was in the pocket all the time, and he is not built at 5'9", okay, maybe 5'10" with his cleats on. He's not built to stand in the pocket. He needs to be doing things that work for him. And so I don't know what's going on with him, but he should be careful about demanding too much of the pie right off the bat and not leaving enough for everybody else, because it's those people who all get a bite at the pie that accommodate his skill set. There's an expiration date on those players Arizona brought in because they were brought in because they were bought in on Kyler. And I understand the dude getting his dough, but if he's thinking in terms of winning, he needs to think twice about how much he's going to ask for, because he's going to be asking for 40 rocks, right? He's going to be in that 40 range. And then where are the Cardinals going to be in terms of signing somebody and keeping the right talent around him? Their free agent list this year, some of them are good, some of them are, I think, overrated, but their free agent list is A.J. Green, Chandler Jones, Chase Edmonds, Christian Kirk, James Conner, and Zach Ertz, who they brought in mid-season to demonstrate where they were. They were all in on the season. They get J.J. Watt back, but his body's as beat up as Joe Biden's climbing up Air Force One. So what are they going to do? And as a Rams fan, I think it's do. Phoenix rises, right? And then into ashes, and then 5 years from now we'll rise again. But I'd be real careful if I was Phoenix in terms of, you got to give Kyler his dough. I get it. But I'd be real careful as I'm Kyler. If I take too much of the pie, I'm not going to have talent around me. And then the last thing I want to hint at was they talked about Tom Brady coming back maybe next year. See, Brady falls into that Weddle thing. Now, he still has a year on his contract, I think, with Tampa Bay, so something would have to be worked out. But Brady fits into that thing with the Rams that have had happen with Eric Weddle that I talked about last week. Was there could be a bunch of players that have 5 games in their body. They might have a month worth of football plus playoffs in their body. They just don't have 17 games, an 18-week season with bye and workouts and spring and summer camp and OTAs. They just don't have that in the body, but they still have the mindset, and they have a body that can endure for a month, 5-6 games into the playoffs. And I think Weddle is kind of showing that that's possible. I can't imagine there won't be some guys out there that keep in shape and are waiting for that call. And I'm just wondering if Brady is one of those guys, because he's always in excellent shape. The guy is manic about being in shape. Could he be somebody that comes in week 10, week 11, week 12 at some place in some organization that has had an injury, that has had somebody go down? Think about it. Let's just say he was a free agent and you didn't owe anything to him, right? Because I think it'd be real tough for an NFC team to sign Tom Brady because the Buccaneers still have a year in his contract, right? But could you imagine Stafford goes down next year? Do you really want John Wolford, or something? But Brady says, hey, I'll come in. I'll give you a month, come in like a mercenary at the end there, or some other team that he could do that with. He can go back to New England if Mac Jones goes down. He could go to San Francisco, depending on what their situation is. He can pop into Dallas, right? He could pop in somewhere and help out. He could jump into Pittsburgh, maybe. Maybe Pittsburgh needs something in the last month of next season. But there's players like that. And so Brady's saying that he's going to reevaluate and thinking about the future. It's really fascinating, and it's interesting as we start contemplating what's coming up in terms of the NFL and the season and how that's all going to play out. I just want to remind you that I'm Joe Tarosian, and if you like this, you can subscribe. Please hit subscribe, and we're going to keep building this eventually into a podcast format. I am on Twitter and Instagram at JoeT13B. You can follow me at joetarosian.com. I'm also on Facebook at the same name. I am a sports writer, but I am a pastor, and I just wrote a new book. Sin Virus, very Christian, not football. I do have a football book out there. A couple of them, Tangent Dreams is one of them. You can check those out on my website or go to Amazon. And From the Ram Cave appears every Friday at joetarosian.com, as well as FanView. And then I'm trying to be here every morning on RamView and just chit-chatting about Ram football and all that is going on. So until then, thank you for clicking on, and we will talk to you mañana.